Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy.
Mercy on me, that's an interesting phrase, isn't it? I mean, I think some of the words that come to mind are compassion, forgiveness, be kind to me, don't destroy or smash me when I'm vulnerable, don't punish me, and perhaps even more interestingly, have pity on me, which is quite a vulnerable statement. So it's all around those sort of ideas, I think, that mercy is configured. Well, inevitably, Jesus was really deeply embedded in the story of Israel and the scriptures of Israel. So yes, Psalms 51, Psalms 57 would have been known to him very well. But I think the key theme that informs the notion of mercy is the idea of God's covenant with his people. God is called merciful, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love. And you might say that the theme is right living means merciful living, because that's the way God is. And when you look in the New Testament and the way the writers talk about the story of Jesus and also their own reflections on that, they use sort of three basic ideas for mercy. Showing pity, which is where we get the sort of Lord have mercy in the service in the Sunday mornings. Or you poor soul, you're a pitied person. And particularly for Jesus, the notion of compassion, it's often a Jesus word. He had compassion on them, like a shepherd for sheep. And you might say that the key thing that's going on there is the test for Israel and the test for Jesus' disciples is whether they're a community that show mercy to one another and to the world at large, because that's the way God has behaved with them. Well, I think like our society, it was a mixed experience. I mean, I think Jesus often challenges the people who seem to be in control, the people who seem to have power, that seem to feel they are the ones who control the view. And often when people feel they're self-secure or powerful, they tend not to be particularly merciful. And that's where Jesus challenges hypocrites who like to present themselves as great advocates of the faith by giving alms or gifts in public, which was a sign of mercy. And Jesus says, well, actually, it's not really about providing an image of yourself as a great person. It's about doing stuff under the radar, which speaks about the love of God. Again, we have the story of Jesus being faced with those who caught a woman in adultery in John chapter 8. And there he says, if you are the person who hasn't sinned, then you cast the first stone, because he's challenging them about the fact that they're not showing the sort of mercy that God would have expected based around the Torah. And of course we know that Pax Romana, the peace of Rome, was an iron fist peace, a peace which if you contested it would really show you no mercy. So I think the experience of Jesus' society was mixed, but it was often among the poor that he saw a generosity of spirit. And I think that's probably akin to our own society, where we find that, for example, in giving terms, or mercy through money, the poor give proportionally more than the rich. Popular culture is an odd thing, really. Yes, we have a lot of celebrity in popular culture, which seems to be about me and not we, and so is self-referential and perhaps looks implicitly down at other people because it's inviting people to become like me, but at the same time ensuring that you don't become like me, otherwise you wouldn't notice me. So there's a sort of implicit mercilessness in that and a diminishment of people. And there is a sort of sense in which our culture is a me culture, and that does make us look to ourselves rather than to others in a way that maybe in other societies in the world and maybe in our past we couldn't afford to do because we needed each other. But I'm always encouraged. I was watching a TV program the other day called DIY SOS, which was happening in Blythe down the road here. And it was all about some people who'd fallen into destitute times. And the story was about all sorts of people, tradespeople and others, coming and helping them out and transforming their life. Now I know when the TV camera's there, people will nearly always do anything. But I thought there was more to it going on there. I thought it was drawing out of people a sense of compassion and mercy and pity, but also a practical way in which that was going to be realized. And I'm sure that's what Jesus understood mercy to be, not just words, not just talk, but deeds and performance. Yes, our tabloids are a hard-edged group of people, but nevertheless, I think the challenge really that Jesus brings isn't for us to look outside and try and point the finger, but ask the question, as he did of his own disciples, particularly in the Sermon on the Mount, are you a merciful community? Because if you are going to be blessed as merciful, you will need to show mercy. So the fundamental challenge of mercy showing is to the people who want to walk with Jesus.